Hey guys, I hope you enjoy the Conquest gameplay. I went in with the tank, I was hitting helicopters out of the sky, running around as a soldier, swapping weapons, doing my thing, and I had a lot of fucking fun. But today, I'd like to talk about a subject that I feel does not get enough play at all. And it's this weird link between smoking and cancer that is much more complex than meets the eye. Most people think, okay, lung cancer caused from smoking, and that's the end of story. But it's not. It's just not. And I've done a lot of research on the subject. I initially did some research. This was years ago because I wanted to see what the fuck was up. I started hand rolling cigarettes, and I wanted, and it was fine. I did it once or twice a day, and that was it. But I wanted to make sure I wasn't getting cancer because if I'm gonna die, I'd like to die jumping out of a plane, doing the craziest drugs imaginable, with like dropping $100 bills behind me. That would be fucking epic and awesome and hilarious. And I don't want to die from cancer. Nobody wants to die from that. So I did my homework, and I found this really interesting concept called the Japan Smoker's Paradox. And what the Japan Smoker's Paradox is, I think it's called that, it addresses a very interesting fact, which is Japan has 60% of its population that smokes, but very minimal rates of cancer. I think there's only like 2% of the people get cancer, and that's it. Conversely, on the flip side of that fucking coin, you have the United States, which has like 20% of its people that now smoke occasionally, and much more of the population gets cancer. So what the fuck causes cancer? Lung cancer in particular. What causes it? What happens? And I came to some conclusions just thinking on my own. And by the way, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm just good at Googling stuff. And I know that there is a much deeper connection that has not been addressed. I definitely know that. I'm not a scientist or a medical expert. I'm just good at reading articles and watching videos on the internet. So, I came to some conclusions. What happens if you drive to work every day? You take the highway to work every day. You have your 30-minute commute, and you're inhaling gasoline fumes every day. And you have one McDonald's hamburger. You get your fucking Happy Meal at McDonald's every day. I feel that would have a much deeper impact on you than smoking a cigarette every day. Because you're inhaling gasoline fumes, and then you're eating food that is not really food. I mean, let's be real here. McDonald's may taste good, but it is essentially over-processed chemicals that don't mold. I mean, it's just not natural food, man. It comes from a cow, but I don't know what the fuck that is. It's awful for you. So, this Japan Smoker's Paradox, I kept looking it up on the internet, and the only people that I found that really addressed it, there was a few scientists and a few medical experts, and this is what they said. They said the reason that Japanese people don't get cancer is because of food. So their diet is really, really good. This is before Fukushima, by the way. This is before Japan got rocked by that nuclear disaster, that nuclear power disaster. So they said it has to do with the food that the Japanese people eat. It has to do with genetics. They say Japanese people may have much better genetics for handling smoking. And they said that the chemicals in the cigarettes are just not there. They said that the chemicals are it's just not as bad for you because the chemicals aren't as bad. So I said, okay, well, I can't control my genetics, and I can't control, where I live, but I can control the stuff that I'm putting in my body. I can control the food that I'm eating. I can control the type of cigarettes that I smoke. So if I'm smoking Marlboros, those are probably going to be really, really bad for me. But if I get some all-natural rolling tobacco, that's probably much better for me. And I may be getting into the specifics here, but it matters. These specifics matter because everyone and I hate this fucking idea that there's always a silver bullet to a problem. People think that gun control is the best way to get rid of crime, right? You take away the guns, and then there's no more crime. That's regardless of what you believe in, that's a silver bullet idea. You take away the guns, everything gets fixed. That's not true. We live in a complex world. And the reality of the situation is that if you want to fix a problem, especially as big as smoking and getting cancer or gun control or anything that's that big, there are multifaceted sides to that issue. There are multiple issues that you need to tackle. You can't just, there is no head of the snake that you cut off. It's just not there. And that's why I wanted to talk about smoking, because I just don't know enough about it. I don't know enough about the link between pollution and cancer. I know one thing for sure, though. I know that China had a very crazy increase in cancer rates, specifically lung cancer, when their industrial revolution started. So they had their crazy industrial revolution, all of a sudden everyone started getting fucking cancer. So it's interesting to me to see that, and that gets no radio play. It's almost as if cigarettes are a scapegoat. I'm not trying to tell you guys, by the way, that it's okay to smoke. I think everything in moderation is important. I think that if you smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day, chances are you'll probably get lung cancer. That's not healthy for you. If you eat a McDonald's hamburger every day, I don't know, it depends on what else you do. But fuck, man, if you eat awful shit all the time, you know, good luck getting past 60. Good luck getting past 70. And that's important. That's really important. So everyone attacks smoking like it's this awful, awful problem. And if smoking goes away, lung cancer goes away. That's not true. We've all heard the stories of the woman who does not smoke at all, incredibly healthy, or the man who's incredibly healthy, and he just keels over and dies from lung cancer. And then they try and say, oh, well, it's the secondhand smoke. Dude, come on, man. How much of a stretch do you have to take with this logic? So, I don't know. I don't know the root cause of all of this. No one knows what causes cancer. But I do know that the issue is much more complex and deep. I'm also going to link a book that's free. You can just read it right there. It's called In Defense of Smokers, and it pushes the argument the other way. And it's very scientific and analytical. It has very little to do with attacking, you know, a party or a group of people. It talks about the studies that have been done. It talks about, you know, how they tried to paint monkeys' lungs with like these industrial grade carcinogens. They actually like went in and gave monkeys high grade carcinogens, which is supposed to cause cancer. And the monkeys didn't get cancer. So they're like, what the fuck? You know, what's going on here? Anyway, it's a really interesting read. And by the way, I forgot to make this one last point. I'd like to try and understand the link between marijuana and cigarettes. Because, to my knowledge, carcinogens are released from burning plant matter, right? So if a leaf is burning, it gives off carcinogens. So you don't want to inhale too much of that. But it's been proven now in many different scientific studies that smoking marijuana does not cause cancer. And that makes no fucking sense because, you know, if you're smoking weed, you're burning plant matter. And you don't get cancer. So what the fuck is going on there? I don't understand the link then. Because if that's a carcinogen, and you smoke tobacco and that's a carcinogen, then shouldn't they both cause cancer? So, I'm left with more frustrations than fucking anything. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this gives you a different perspective on an issue that I think would be, you know, interesting to talk about. Okay, take it easy. Peace.